Good morning, children. Now, today we are going to study about the solubility of solid in a liquid. That means we have already studied this concept that when solute is dissolved in a solvent, then the solution is formed. Now, today we are going to study how this happens, why it happens, and what are the terms that we use in it. Whenever a solute is dissolved in a solvent, it is only possible when the nature of the two, that is a solute and the solvent is almost the same. That is like dissolves like. It follows the rule like dissolves like. Okay? That is the nature of the solute should be same as the nature of the solvent. Then only it is possible. Okay. Now here also when we talk about the dissolution, that means when small amount of salt you take and dissolve it in water, it dissolves very nicely. And this continuously you do it, and when after stirring that salt in the water, you will find that salt is dissolving very nicely in water. This process is known as dissolution. This process is known as dissolution. That means dissolving of a solute in a solvent easily. Then what happens at the time? After some time, it happens that no more solute is dissolving. The solute stops dissolving in it. That point is known as saturation point. That means further the limited, as you are dissolving, you have taken the solvent in a limited amount, fixed amount of solvent you have taken, and you were dissolving the solute. But after some time it happens that this solute stops dissolving in it. That particular point or that particular stage is known as saturation point. Saturation point. That means now the solution that has been reached to saturation. No more solute is dissolved. In spite of that, what it starts forming? The solute which is present inside that solution, the another solutes which you are further dissolving in it forms the crystals. This starts depositing over that particular solute which is already present in it, and thereby it forms a crystal. And this process is known as crystallization. This process is known as crystallization. Formation of a crystal when no more further dissolution taking place in the solution is known as crystallization. Okay. Now in this way we have seen that how it starts dissolving. Now next thing that we have to confirm further is that another term is the very important term that is known as solubility. Now we will study about the word solubility. What does this word solubility means? It is the solubility, it is the process, or it is the happening that takes place when a solution is formed, when a fixed amount of solvent is taken and the amount of solute that gets dissolved in it by itself, that means on stirring, and no more crystallization is forming or no more settling is taking place till the time the crystal starts forming, or till the time that saturation point has reached. That tendency, that capacity to the extent that it is forming is known as its solubility. Solubility means the extent to which the solute can be dissolved in a given amount of solvent at a fixed temperature. That means temperature also remains fixed for its dissolution. We will see now the factors that affects the solubility of a solute in a solid in a liquid. There are the two factors that mainly affect. First factor is the nature. First factor is the nature. Nature of solute and the solvent. Solute and solvent. This is very important nature that you have to, that is a very important factor that you have to go through. Nature of solute nature and the solvent nature should be same. Like I have said earlier also, like dissolves like. If the salt or if your substance which you are dissolving is ionic in nature, then the solvent in which it is dissolving should also be ionic. For example, simple salt, sodium chloride or potassium chloride and all these salts which are there, it can easily dissolve in water because water is also an ionic compound. Now how it takes place? Suppose this is the water, like H2O you write off. It is having oxygen with a negative this attacks two small hydrogen with a positive charge. In this way we can represent, I will make it more clear to you, more darker, so that it will be easy for you to understand. Here also you see, in this is the water molecule that is there. And when, so this compound, suppose this is a sodium chloride, we are taking the example of sodium chloride. This is a salt. We know that cations is always smaller in size than the anions. Anions are bigger in size. Now what happens, how it works, that you see. This water having the negative charge, it attracts towards the positive end of the salt. That means this is the positive end of the salt, and all the water molecule having the negative part gets attracted towards the positive part, that is the positive side of the salt, and then by it's the positive side of the salt, that way having the attraction towards the this side. Oxygen being negative, then the hydrogen is, you can see, to the other side, and oxygen being negative gets attracted towards the this positive part of the salt. On the other hand, when you will see, you will find, you will come to know that now this thing changes to the other side. You can see how. See, now this is the negative end of the salt, and the water molecules are still there, but its positive end is now attracted towards the negative side of the salt. So in this way, this water molecule pulls the positive part of the ion, and this water molecule pulls the negative part of the ion, and thereby it dissociates or it breaks. The salt ion gets break, and after breaking up, it gets surrounded by, see, sodium ion. Suppose this is the sodium ion, positive ion. It is surrounded by all the time the negative ions. That is, the water molecules, the oxygen atoms is surrounding this sodium ions like this. This way. See, now sodium ion is being separated, easily separated, and each is being surrounded by the water molecule. Similarly, if we talk about the chloride ions, that is the negative part of the, this is the chloride ion, and this is been surrounded by all the sides with the positive part. This is the positive part. All the sides it has been surrounded. Can you see? Now in this way, this water molecules helps in breaking the salt into its ionic part, and then thereby forming the ions in the solution. This is known as, in this way it is undergoes the dissolution, that is the breaking of ions taking place here. So it takes place as the both are in its ionic state. The similar thing that you come across is where that next. Now these two points affect children. One is the lattice, and when we will talk about the two types of energy, lattice energy and hydration energy. First is the lattice energy. Now what is the lattice energy? You know that sodium chloride, this NaCl was formed by the lattice structure was formed, which we have discussed in earlier videos. Like this sodium ion was surrounded by chloride ions, again chloride ions are surrounded by sodium ions. In this way, lattice structure, a cubical structure of sodium chloride was there. Now in order to break this structure, this lattice, some energy has to be required. The energy which is required to break this lattice of sodium chloride is known as lattice energy. But or you can say the lattice energy is that energy which is binding the sodium chloride to itself. On another hand, another energy takes place, that is the water molecule. This water molecule is surrounding these ions very nicely and making these ions hydrated. So one more energy works here, that is the hydration energy. So between the two, when is it possible to have the ions in water? When this hydration energy exceeds over lattice energy. Okay, this lattice energy is the energy which binds the sodium chloride formation, and but that has to be broken up by the water molecules because of having like dissolves like and forming the hydrated ions. So hydration energy has overtook the lattice energy. So after this, we will study about the next factor, that is temperature. Now in this you can see the children how the temperature affects the solubility. Okay. Now here three ways the temperature affect. These three ways are very important to understand the concept. First is that solubility increases with the increase in temperature. That we have seen very well when at home also, when you make a sugar syrup or your mom dissolves the sugar in water, or you can salt in water, like that. When in a cold water, the dissolution or the dissolution of salt in water takes place slowly. But as soon as you warm the water, solubility increases. That means solubility increases with the increase in temperature, like sodium nitrate, potassium nitrate, sodium chloride, that common salt, potassium chloride, etc. These salts comes under this category, where increase in temperature increases the solubility. Second point that we have to discuss more in this, the Lee-Chatler principle works. Solubility decreases with the increase in temperature. Why solubility decreases? Here the Lee-Chatler principle works. Now what is Lee-Chatler principle? Lee-Chatler principle works on the, which tells that we have already studied in class 11 in the equilibrium chapter, that the movement or the flow of a reaction, that is whether it moves to the forward direction or the reaction moves towards the back direction, depends upon the temperature and its work. In this, suppose we increase the temperature and solubility does not increase, that means it does not increase, that means the reactants has showing exothermic reaction. It is not moving in a forward direction, it is because in this the reaction is exothermic. Already the reactants are having excess heat. When they react together, they give some heat. So extra heat does not work there. It does not move the reaction towards the forward direction. Instead they move toward the backward direction. On the other hand, in cases, suppose increase in this temperature, if it moves to the forward direction, if possible, then it means that the reactants were endothermic. That means those reactants for reaction needs extra heat to move forward. So it works under the Lee-Chatler principle, and that is why depending upon the type, whether it is exothermic or endothermic, decides the solubility or movement of the reaction, that is solubility of the reactants to move forward. Okay. Now last we will talk about here is solubility either increases or decreases. There are certain cases where the solubility on increase in temperature may or may not shows the forward reaction, or the solubility is possible or not. First example is here is sodium sulfate decahydrate. Decahydrate, sodium sulfate decahydrate means having 10 molecules of water. Here the graph is in a different way. First it increases, then it decreases. About 32.4 degrees Celsius, when the 32.4 degrees Celsius temperature was a little above that, then it was possible to show the forward reaction. Forward reaction was possible, and this 10 molecules of water which was present in sodium sulfate was removed, and an anhydrous, that is the dry sodium sulfate, was obtained. Further increase in temperature does not work because already completed the job which was provided. But below this temperature, again the sodium sulfate can move toward the backward reaction. That is, backward process can take place. In this way, the two types of factors that affects the solubility of the solid in liquid. There are some graphs also given in your book. If you yes, children, here you can see the effect of temperature by the help of a graph. Now here I have made two types of graph. One is a continuous graph and another is discontinuous graph. In this continuous graph, you can see that there are some salts whose solubility either increases or decreases continuously. That is, we can see sodium nitrate from lower, as the temperature increases, solubility increases. Similarly, here you can see calcium sulfate, it is decreasing, solubility decreasing, and then this is sodium chloride, it is same. So potassium chloride is again increasing, but to a little extent. Like this, you can see the various types of curves in which the solubility increases with the increase in temperature. Now here in a discontinuous type of graph, you see very different thing. Here in this, with the rising temperature, the form changes. The compound remains the same, but its form changes with increase in temperature. Here you can see sodium sulfate decahydrate. It was there at a lower temperature. As the temperature increased, it changes to the sodium sulfate, that is anhydrous sodium sulfate. The another peak represents sodium sulfate, but decahydrate has been lost. Here another one you can see, the three curves you can see. In one curve, in one particular temperature, that calcium chloride hexahydrate was there. With increase in temperature, 2 molecules of water removed. And then further increase in temperature, again 2 molecules of water has been removed. So this type of curve has been seen. Now in ammonium nitrate, with increase in temperature, its form changes. If it was alpha nitrate, alpha ammonium nitrate, and that has changed to beta. Okay, their form changes, the structure changes, and this is the way you can understand the solubility of the solid in liquid and its effect of temperature with the help of this graph also. So with this topic, small topic is being completed.